Hey everyone, welcome back to Workshop Quick Takes. Today I'm tackling a little issue of a battery replacement. This came out of a battery backup on a small LED exit sign, and you might find something similar used in other devices. Back in the olden days, batteries like this were used on cordless phones and all kinds of other applications, but now they're pretty hard to find. So you might end up going to a place like Batteries Plus, and you looked at something like this, and they said, yeah, we can make that for you, it'll be $20, and you blanched and said, you're lucky I need it today, and then paid it. Well, let's suppose you have time to order batteries. Here's a universal replacement type that I got off of, I think this was eBay, you can also get them off Amazon. It's simply a 1.2 volt, AA size, rechargeable battery. This one here was originally a NiCad. This one here is a nickel metal hydride, which is actually a higher quality. It tends not to develop as much of a memory effect and lasts longer. So, these were about 2.5 each, I guess 3 maybe once shipping was included. But the important feature that requires ordering a battery in this configuration rather than just going and getting any rechargeable AA battery is the fact that this has metal tabs spot welded onto the positive and negative terminals. Unfortunately, that is kind of a requirement to do a battery replacement like this, because unless you have a miniature battery spot welding machine in your backyard, you're going to need to use solder, and you can't solder onto the tabs of batteries, at least not without getting them so hot as to risk the integrity of the device inside. But you can solder onto a pair of tabs that have previously been spot welded for you. So let's take a look inside this package and see what we can reuse, because I'm pretty sure that lump right there is some kind of a current limiting resistor, so we'll probably be reusing that for sure. Now, one thing I'm seeing in here that I like, that I think I want to try and reuse, are these two sticky cardboard tabs. If I can reuse these, that'll save me some trouble on my replacement one here. Separator, wax separator, I can go ahead and reuse that too probably. Oh no, that's actually a protected fuse. Interesting. So I can reuse that, but I'll need to work with it very carefully. I don't want to melt it by soldering. You don't have to have high quality temperature controlled iron to do work like this, but it does help. And they've become a lot cheaper in recent years. In fact, you can even get a cordless version of this from low-end brands like Riot and then actually run it with a cordless drill battery for a while. That's taking solder, but it's not melting off, which means it's been spot welded on. So I'm just going to have to clip that and then strip and resolder it. I don't see any actual labels on the battery for positive and negative, but unless they did something really screwy, they should have gone red and black. But since I know this still has a little bit of a charge in it, let's double check it with a meter just to be 100% sure. And I can tell pretty easily which one was which, because the one I cut the wire off of still has a little bit of wire spot welded on it there with the solder. And the one that I just cut the fuse off, I actually took a nip of the tab. So I'm expecting this to be positive and this to be negative. Yep, there we go. Interestingly, it's measuring almost full voltage right now, but when it was in battery backup duty mode on the exit sign, it was so dim you could hardly see it. So I assume it's not got a lot of oomph left in it. Okay, first off, before we go reusing anything, let's double check, make sure that this fuse is good. Beep is good. Beep is good, so we should be fine there. Now let's just double check and see what our new one looks like. Yeah, see 1.27 volts. And that one hasn't even been on charger recently. It's just been the way it shipped from the factory after getting its initial build charge. So I'm looking forward to this one performing a lot better. If you don't have a proper wire strippers, you can use one of these, just side cutters, to carefully do it. You might damage some stranding, so if it fights you too much, don't pursue it, especially if you're working with, say, copper-clad aluminum wire, which is really soft. So let's go ahead and get our negative onto our negative. Let's start with some fresh heat shrink tube here. Again, make sure I'm soldering to the negative. There we go. So that's one down. Now I need to figure out how I'm going to do this. So if all is going well for you today, you should have ended up with a connection a lot like that. Okay, so there it is. So now I just need to get all of this under, either wrapped or under some kind of sleeve. Now, this is by no means necessary, but I happen to have this high voltage, like Mylar or whatever it is, electrical tape. And I am going to reuse these two little stickies. Now at this point, it would be perfectly acceptable just to wrap this in tape and call it a day. But since I happen to have some large diameter heat shrink insulation, I'm going to go ahead and try and use some of that. For this, however, I'm not going to try and torch it. I will actually get out the heat gun this time because I can apply the heat more gently and evenly. Now just one final check. I did check this cell earlier to make sure that I got correct voltage off of it, but now that it's actually wired up and I can see a black wire connected here and a red wire connected back through the fuse up here, let me just, for my own sanity, double check one more time and make sure I've actually got positive and negative off here. And I do. And there we are. Not quite as neat as Batteries Plus might have done it, but just as effective, and probably with a better cell too, because I don't know if they would have used nickel metal hydride or just replaced it like in kind with another NiCad. But NiCads and nickel metal hydrides, as far as I know, will charge off of similar circuits, so there shouldn't be any electrical consequences for doing this, and we should get a longer lasting, more reliable battery. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us again on Workshop Quick Takes. Hopefully you found that helpful, maybe got some ideas to do your own repairs. Also, just to clarify, we're not knocking on Batteries Plus. They have a brick and mortar retail operation to run, and so they charge prices for that. But unfortunately, those prices, especially on small items, tend to be marked up ridiculously. That's typical across the industry. With a little soldering experience, you can do what we did and fix a pack yourself. Most small packs that come out of older equipment and some specialty items that use things that look like round cells are probably using either AA or AAA NiCads or nickel metal hydride batteries. And so the technique we showed today can be applied to repair most of those. One more comment on that, it's generally safe to just buy nickel metal hydride or nickel cadmium rechargeable batteries from whatever vendor you can get them from. Any battery cell can explode or catch fire if it is abused, but it's very unlikely on these. That, of course, is not true if you are buying, say, 18650 cells, which are a rechargeable lithium chemistry. If somebody tells you that they're buying the cheapest ones they can get to repair, say, an old flashlight or even one of these older style laptop batteries, run, because cheap 18650s do have a very bad reputation of failing catastrophically and causing personal injury and equipment damage. So only get lithiums from reputable vendors. These, you can generally buy whatever is available. They're all pretty much the same, and the risk is low as long as you're not directly short-circuiting them. So, thanks for joining us again today. We'll see you again next time, whenever that is. Has anyone seen my phone?